Welcome back to Old Charles the channel, where we uncover the hidden stories and values behind coins from around the world. Today, we're diving deep into the history, design, and value of one of the most iconic U.S. coins, the 1974 Kennedy half dollar. Whether you're a collector, an investor, or just curious about the change in your pocket, this video will tell you everything you need to know about this historic coin. The Kennedy half dollar was first introduced in 1964, just months after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy in November 1963. The U.S. Mint released the coin as a way to honor the late president, and it quickly became a symbol of national pride. At first, in 1964, these coins were struck in 90% silver, but starting in 1965, silver was reduced to 40%. By 1971, the Mint removed silver entirely for circulation coins, switching to a copper-nickel clad composition. That means the 1974 Kennedy half dollar is not silver, but instead a combination of copper and nickel. Still, even though it contains no silver, this coin is extremely popular among collectors because of its design, history, and the nostalgia attached to the Kennedy era. Let's talk about the design. On the obverse, you'll see the familiar portrait of President John F. Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts. His profile is bold and recognizable, capturing his legacy as a leader. On the reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, is the presidential seal, an eagle with a shield, clutching arrows and an olive branch, surrounded by stars. This design gives the coin a powerful and patriotic look. The coin weighs about 11.34 grams, with a diameter of 30.6 millimeters, making it one of the larger coins still struck for circulation in the U.S. The 1974 Kennedy half dollar was minted at three major locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D mint mark; San Francisco, S mint mark. Proof coins. The proof coins from San Francisco were struck for collectors and often have a mirror-like finish. These are usually worth more than circulation strikes. Now, here's something important for collectors: the 1974 D double die obverse error. This is where the lettering and numbers on the coin appear doubled because of a misalignment during striking. These error coins can be worth significantly more than regular strikes, sometimes hundreds of dollars depending on condition. Now, let's talk value for most 1974 Kennedy half dollars in circulated condition. The value is around 50 cents, basically face value, because millions were minted and they're quite common. However, things change when we look at condition, and errors. A regular 1974 Philadelphia or Denver half dollar in uncirculated condition, MS65 or higher, can be worth between $5 and $28. 1974 S-proof coin *** often sells $4 to $10, but deep cameo or pristine examples can reach $20, $50. The 1974 D double die obverse error is the real treasure. These can range anywhere from $50 up to $400 or more depending on grade and how clear the doubling is. And here's a fun fact. In top-graded mint condition, like MS67 or MS68, some of these coins have sold for hundreds of dollars at auction. That means if you've got a shiny 1974 Kennedy half dollar sitting around, it might be worth checking its details carefully. When evaluating the value of a 1974 Kennedy half dollar, condition is everything. Collectors look for luster ***, the shine of the coin's surface, strike quality, how sharp the details appeared, no major scratches, or where ***. Circulated coins usually lose value quickly. Error varieties ***, like double dies or unusual minting flaws. If you want to check your coin's true value, you may want to send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. A certified grade can increase its market value and make it more attractive to buyers. To sum it up, while most 1974 Kennedy half dollars are common and worth face value, high-grade uncirculated examples, proofs, or error coins can be worth much more. The history behind this coin connects directly to one of America's most beloved presidents, making it a must-have for collectors worldwide. If you have one of these coins, hold on to it, check its condition, and who knows, you might be holding a small piece of history with a hidden value. The story of the 1974 Kennedy half dollar begins with the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy in November of 1963. Just weeks after his passing, The U.S. Mint and Congress moved quickly to honor the fallen president with a new coin design. In 1964, the first Kennedy half-dollars were struck. These coins were made of 90% silver, and the public loved them. In fact, so many Americans wanted to keep the coins as mementos of Kennedy that very few ever made it into daily circulation. But things began to change in the following years. Rising silver prices made it difficult for the mint to continue producing coins with such a high silver content. From 1965 to 1970, the Kennedy half-dollar was reduced to 40% silver, but even then, many people still hoarded them. By 1971, silver was completely removed from the half-dollar. The mint switched to a copper-nickel clad composition, the same type used for quarters and dimes today. This made the coin far less valuable in metal content, but easier to produce for circulation. That brings us to the 1974 issue. The 1974 Kennedy half-dollar was struck in enormous numbers. Hundreds of millions were minted at both Philadelphia and Denver. The design stayed the same. President Kennedy's profile on the obverse, and the presidential seal on the reverse. That it's important to note that in the early 1970s, half-dollars were still circulating. More than they do today. People would receive them in change from banks, vending machines, and even casinos. However, by the mid-1970s, demand for half-dollars in daily transactions began to fall. Most people preferred quarters and dollar bills, leaving the half-dollar more of a collector's coin than a circulating one. The year 1974 also saw something very interesting in coin production. At the Denver Mint, a small number of half-dollars were struck with a double die obverse error. This happened when the coin die was imprinted twice at slightly different angles, creating a doubling effect on the lettering and numbers. These error coins are now among the most desirable Kennedy halves from the 1970s. But another key part of the story is the 1974 S-proof coins, struck at the San Francisco Mint. These were made specifically for collectors, with a mirror-like finish and sharper details. Many proof sets from this year are still preserved in excellent condition. The 1974 Kennedy half-dollar reflects an important era in American coinage history. It symbolizes the shift from silver coinage to modern clad coinage, the nation's continuing tribute to President Kennedy, and the changing role of the half-dollar in U.S. circulation. Even though it doesn't contain silver, its history connects directly to the legacy of President Kennedy and the evolving story of American money. Now let's talk about one of the most important factors that determines the value of your 1974 Kennedy half-dollar, the condition of the coin. When it comes to coin collecting, condition isn't just about whether the coin looks shiny or old. Collectors and grading experts use specific terms and scales to describe how much wear a coin has and how well it has been preserved over the years. Most 1974 Kennedy half-dollars you'll find today have been used in everyday transactions at some point. These are called circulated coins ***, and they usually show clear signs of wear. The high points of Kennedy's hair might look smooth or flat. The cheek and jawline often lose detail first. On the reverse, the eagle's feathers may appear worn down. The coin might also have scratches, nicks, or dull surfaces from years of U.S. in circulated condition. These coins are usually worth face value, about 50 cents, unless it's a rare error variety. If a coin was used very lightly or handled only a few times, it may fall into the about uncirculated category. These coins still show some signs of wear on the highest points of the design, but much of the original mint luster remains. The NAU coin is more attractive to collectors and can be worth slightly more, usually $1 to $3 depending on demand. Now, this is where things get exciting. A mint state coin has never been in circulation. It retains its original mint luster, that bright, cartwheel-like shine you see when the coin is tilted under light. Mint state grades range from MS60 to MS70 on the Sheldon scale. At MS60, MS63, coins may have small marks or dull spots, but no real wear. At MS65, coins are sharp, with very few flaws, and they're quite desirable. At MS67 or higher, these coins are extremely rare, nearly perfect, and can be worth hundreds of dollars at auction. So, if you find a 1974 Kennedy half-dollar that looks untouched, it may be worth having it professionally graded. Finally, we have the 1974 S-proof coins, which were struck at the San Francisco Mint. These were never intended for circulation. They were made only for collectors. Proof coins have a mirror-like background and frosted details that make the design stand out. Collectors love proof coins, especially those with a deep cameo finish, where the contrast between the shiny field and the frosted design is very strong. Most 1974 proofs are still in excellent shape because they were sold in protective cases. Their value depends heavily on condition, from around $5 to $15 for average examples, and up to $30, $50 for perfect, high-grade, deep cameo proofs. Now, condition plays an even bigger role when we talk about the 1974 double die obverse error. If you find one of these error coins in circulated condition, it might be worth $50 to $100. But in mint state condition, the same coin could be valued at $300 or more. That's why condition isn't just important. It can multiply the value of your coin many times over. So, the condition of your 1974 Kennedy half dollar can make the difference between a coin worth only face value and one worth hundreds of dollars. Always look closely for wear, shine, and possible errors. And if you think your coin is in top condition, consider professional grading to unlock its full potential.